Hello, everybody. It's Matt, and it is Fiendish Friday, and I am back at you with yet another review. Before I roll on to any of that, I want to wish each and every one of you a great morning, evening, dawn, day, or dusk, all that lovely stuff, because life really is too short as is. Do me a really huge favor and like, share, and subscribe. I know I'm here an awful lot, but I have an awful lot on my plate to review. And one last little tidbit of information. Check out the description box. I gave you your brief synopsis, your starring cast, your directors, your runtime of the cut I am watching, along with a link for a place where you can purchase this bad boy, and a link if you decide you can help support the channel and help support Matt's Movie Mania. So with all that said in mind and all that out of the way, let's roll on to the film of the day. And today's is a doozy. It is a good one. It is an interesting one. It is one that you will never forget if you do see it. It is none other than the Flesh and Blood collection from New Film Order. It is a collection of 5 shorts. All 5 of them are very interesting. 2 of them from Jacob Green, one from Goblin O'Reilly, one from a guy named Christian Michelsen, and then another one from our good friend David Stoyan. Very good stuff. I enjoyed every single one of them for what they were. The first one, which I am not going to pronounce it correctly, Agamemnon, which I'm sure I absolutely murdered the name of that. It is directed by Jacob Green. Excuse me. It is set in the future, and the world is basically at an end, and a man is now trying to find a way to basically revive humanity throughout his weird experiments, which happen to involve a human baby fetus and multiple jars of different fluids that he fills with a vomit-like solution. I'm guessing semen in another, and in the fourth one, it stays empty. But eventually, he puts the fetus inside one of the other containers with all the solution, and that is how our segment ends. It is a very interesting little segment. It runs, I think it was at like 13 minutes, if memory serves me correct. It's not a super long movie. None of these are really long. Then we roll into the second one, which is also directed by Jacob Green, and it is none other than Tainted Flesh. And Tainted Flesh is also deals with the end of the world and a man who is infected with some sort of disease. And in this disease, he is beginning to rot, and he is pulling bits and pieces off of his body. Most importantly, it looks like he's pulling some sort of maggot-like creatures off of his penis. Gets pretty graphic and pretty gnarly and pretty gross, but it still is very effective. It definitely delivers on all aspects on that. And then we go into our third story, which is Bloodlust XXX by Goblin O'Reilly. Goblin O'Reilly does a pseudo snuff film where he is beating the hell out of these 2 women, and most importantly, one in particular, forcing her to not only give him oral compensation, but she is also forced to take it from the back end, doggy style, and then eventually, in the process of copulation, he decides he is going to not only beat the hell out of her uncontrollably, but he is going to kill her. So it is very quick, very brutal, very sudden, and that is our story with Goblin O'Reilly and the Bloodlust. And then we roll into Sade Me, which is directed by Christian Michelsen, which is a very interesting short segment. It runs at about 6 minutes. It is not a very long one. Not a single one of these is long. They're all very short. It comes up to about, I think, like an hour and 11 minutes grand total for everything once everything's all said and done. And it is well worth the $20 plus shipping to get it from Mexico all the way to wherever you are located from New Film Order. But Sade Me deals with eventually, well, he is writing something. Eventually, his quill is taken away. He eventually starts to write with his own blood, involving a straight razor blade and his own finger. Eventually, then it involves him getting his fingers chopped off, his tongue ripped out, and then it goes on from there. It is a very interesting story. It is probably my second favorite one out of all of them. It delivers on every aspect as well, and it is very fun, very interesting, and very, very gory. And then we roll on to Neo Blood X, which is my favorite one out of all of them. It is the coup de grace of the entire film, in my opinion. It is directed by none other than David Stoyan, and it runs at about 6 minutes itself. It is about a group of people who are basically abducting human traffickers, pedophiles, and rapists, and what they decide to do to these horrible people that deserve no kind of remorse whatsoever, because they did not give their victims any remorse when they were doing their crimes to them. So it makes you feel good watching this person get his just desserts. Granted, yes, it was all in Espanol, and my Espanol is muy poco, muy mal, es muy poquito. I know, very little. So my Espanol was much little use here, so I could only understand very little of what was being said. There was no subtitles on the version that I watched, so hopefully that the fine folks that do purchase DVDs have subtitles of whatever language they speak. From what I've been reading on the specs, it's going to have English, Spanish, German, I believe Japanese. I believe there was like two of French and I believe Italian. It had several, like 5 or 6 different languages that you could choose from. So it was just so happened that my screener that I watched online just did not have subs, which is perfectly okay. I understood what was going on. I know what was being portrayed. The only thing I didn't know is at the very end they wrote out a sign, basically stating what it is that they had done to the victim. That I did not understand the Espanol on there. My intellect on that one went way over my head, and I did not pick up on what that one was being said, what was being said on that. But that's neither here nor there. I get the idea of what it probably had to say. It was more than likely has to do with the fact that he was a huge piece of crap, and that he needed to be taken out to clean society of people of that nature, because people like that do not need to exist. They are terrible people. They are the lowest of low. They are scum, and I hope that they all get what they deserve. Even if you are watching this, if you are a child rapist, a pedophile, a human trafficker, or any kind of rapist, I hope you get what you deserve, because you're a piece of shit. Yeah. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Now on to the three things that I love my movies to meet. On to audio. The audio is very good and crisp and clean throughout the entire movie. There's only one segment where you have to have dialogue and need to really understand what is being said, and that is the Bloodlust XX segment. David really chalked his segment full of dialogue, and that was really nice to see. Granted, I do love art house films, and I am completely okay without dialogue in my films. I just prefer a little bit in there, just so I have a little more understanding of what is going on. It definitely helps my understanding, and it's okay. I can get past certain things, look past certain things, especially if it is done in a extremely well fashion. I think that Jacob Green is a very good director, and I feel like he did a great job with both of his segments on Agamemnon and Tainted Flesh. Granted, yeah, there is zero dialogue in throughout those segments, and you really are just left up to your own imagination on what is to be said. Granted, I did watch both of them twice just so I could get a better feel of what is being conveyed on screen, because I was not confused, but was not 100% in the know on what was going on. And then I read up on about what it's about, and that really helps a lot. So it gets a on audio. It's gonna get an A on audio. Dialogue, however, is not going to get anything throughout 4 of the 5 segments, because there is no dialogue. It is all done through just good old fashioned acting, which is fine with me. I am okay with that. I know that I've critiqued films in the past without lack of dialogue, but mostly because there is really no juxtaposition as into what direction the film was going in. These you have an idea. That is what good direction is all about. Is basically, if you have a film with lack of dialogue, if you're able to get your actors to convince me what they're doing with actions, then I feel like you are a good director, and you deserve the applause. So I'm not going to give it any kind of rating on dialogue, except for on the Bloodlust X, it's going to get an A+. Granted, I did not understand every single word that was being said. It is still very, very, very effective. On to editing. Editing is where the bread and butter lies in this movie. I feel like Jacob did a great job with Agamemnon, Tainted Flesh, and Bloodlust XXX. I know that he edited all 3 of those, and he did a fantastic job. I feel like he is a very, very bright young filmmaker that has a future in it, not only as a director, but as an editor, and possibly even an actor, because he did act in both of his segments of Tainted Flesh and Agamemnon. Now with Bloodlust, the acting is there. What it is, what it is. I'm not one of those that critiques acting. It is grimy and gritty and right in your face, like it's supposed to be. So definitely don't look at that as a negative. It is definitely a positive on that end. Back to the editing. The editing on Sade Me is very, very well done. I think it is probably the best editing out of all 5 of them. Nothing against Blood X. Blood X has fantastic editing as well. But Sade Me, the way that they are able to cut in with the special effects that they use, I feel like they did a fantastic job and really, really caught my attention. And I'm curious to see what Christian will make in the future. Now on to Blood X's editing rating. It's going to get an A as well. It's got a nice, good, even flow going to it. It doesn't lose its momentum. It never makes you bored. I never once in any of these segments looked at what time is left on them to see how much longer I have to sit through this. I feel like they did a fantastic job with it from beginning to end. So on to my final score of 1 through 5. I'm going to give this thing a 4 out of 5. It is that good. It is well worth the money. So definitely, fans of New Film Order, check it out. Fans of underground extreme horror, check it out. Fans of the underground, check it out. You will be pleasantly surprised. You will be happy. And definitely look for what David and Jacob have to release in the future. They're releasing the King James Bible from White Gardenia, and they're also going to be releasing the highly anticipated Mary and Dora film, Thomas and Marco. So they have a lot on their plate, and I am very excited for their future, and hopefully that they continue to shock and awe us with everything that they release, because they do a great job. All right, guys, I love your faces. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I have another review as always, and love your faces, and peace.